What sign is most likely to cheat on their partner?
Geminis for sure, only because...
Would you say our birth chart is kind of a key to aligning with our highest self?
If you have kids, the first thing you should do is pull up their birth chart because you'll understand how they are. It's like the inner configuration of the soul.
What is a twin flame?
Twin flame essentially is someone that's going to awaken profound energies inside of you.
Even when we kiss somebody, we're exchanging DNA.
You choose your parents, and one of the 10 commandments is to respect them. So it doesn't really matter what they do to you, you have to respect them.
Like, how long do soul contracts last after you've been intimate with someone? Is there a specific time period they last?
But they could last forever.
What are 3 things that men can do right now to elevate their masculine energy?
Make one decision.
What is up? Welcome back to the Jeremy Awakens podcast. Today, I am very honored and excited to have Naomi Salfati in the building, also known as Astro Torah, a teacher of astrology and Kabbalah who's awakening hundreds of thousands of people around the world to deeper wisdom hidden within the Torah and the stars. Through her work, she bridges ancient Jewish mysticism with modern consciousness, helping people understand their soul's blueprint and their connection to the divine. Welcome to the show,
Thank
Naomi.
you for having me.
Did you like that?
Love it.
Yeah?
It's so true.
Yeah, you're killing it. You're crushing it. I want to get started with relationships because this is something that I've struggled with in the past, and I feel like a lot of people are confused. Like the masculine, the feminine energy, there seems to be like this divisiveness almost. And people are confused. Like, is this my person? Is this a twin flame? Is this a soulmate? And I'm curious to know, like, modern dating in 2026, how can we use astrology to help us attract someone who potentially is our soulmate?
Love that. Yes. And I love that you use the word attract. That's a very important part of the equation, the attraction. People will say, how do I find this person? Or what's the best move for me to get that person? And that's not the vibe. You have to attract them from a place of inner sovereignty and agency. So the astrology will essentially show you how you are cosmically made. The birth chart, the astrology birth chart, is a picture of the sky at the time of your birth. And it's showing you how the different planetary alignments and the different zodiac signs work in your favor. So when you pay attention to your chart and when you see how you are divinely made, you understand who you are better. And this is really the first step. The first step is to get a good understanding on who you are and how you work. Because in our modern life, we are used to looking outside of ourselves for validation, for guidance, for reassurance. So you can ask friends, you can ask your group of friends, you can ask your parents, you can ask society, you can ask movies. And it's going to give a very specific answer, which may have nothing to do with the way your soul is made. So astrology can really show you how you are made, what you're here for, what's the way that you're meant to shine in the world, what is the way that you're meant to receive love, the way you're meant to give it, where are the shadow aspects of each of these placements. What happens is we grow into ourselves with time and we get very comfortable with our shadow aspects. And then we say things like, I'm just an angry person. It's just who I am. I just have no time for this. Or I'm a lover, I'm a giver. And that may be a shadow aspect of one of your signs, which you are extremely comfortable in this role, but it's not what your soul is here to do. So astrology, number one, shows you who you are. And it's all revealing something to you, right? I'm going to look at your chart and I'm not going to say, you should work on that or become that. I'm going to say, this is who you are. Like, just go and claim your power.
Would you say our birth chart is kind of a key to aligning with our highest self? It's showing us what our innate gifts are, like why we were put here. Because something else that I think a lot of people struggle with, including myself at times, is really cultivating clarity with my purpose. Like, why was I put here? And so many people are selling their soul for a paycheck. And I feel like learning our birth chart and learning the blueprint of our soul is like a cheat code almost to escaping the matrix and actually finding our purpose.
Astrology like nature, like connecting with the divine, like taking ownership over our life, is ancient wisdom that belongs to the human population that we are called to reclaim, right? It's not, astrology is a cheat code, but a lot of other things are. Your relationship with the creator is a cheat code. Your relationship with your soul is a cheat code. Listening to yourself is your cheat code to go against the matrix. Absolutely. The modern world is set up in the way that God intended it to, which is the soul comes down below in a dark place, and she is meant to find her way back. And that is why we're here in a modern world that says to us, climb the corporate ladder, get the paycheck, stay safe, get the health insurance. You can't get a health insurance if you go on your own. You'll be crazy. You'll be on the street. Look at all these people on the street. They didn't go to school. Yeah, exactly. And the whole point is to reclaim what is ours, which is our innate relationship with the divine. And astrology is, like many other things that God put into the world, meant to help us guide ourselves back to our soul.
So how is this stuff not like basic curriculum? I feel like when we go to first grade, second grade, like we're 6 or 7 years old and we're still developing our brains. We're still on that journey of just being our inner child. Why isn't this more mainstream? Like, why are they hiding this from us? Because one of the things I've heard you talk about is the importance of parenting. Like, I feel like parents would be able to show up for their children in a more powerful way if they understood their child's astrology. Yeah?
Absolutely. So the question, I can ask this question right back to you and you'll have the answer. Why aren't they making us learning about our gifts more mainstream?
Yeah.
Why aren't we learning about doing our taxes in high school? Why aren't we learning about starting our own companies in middle school? Why is the system set up in a way that disconnects you from your creator? And the answer is very simple. The soul came down to get that relationship back. And if you can look at the world with this understanding, everything will be so much easier, because you'll understand that the system is rigged in your favor as long as you know the rules. And the rules are, get your soul back closer to her creator, where she comes from. So in terms of parenting, absolutely. If you have kids, the first thing you should do is pull up their birth chart, because you'll understand how they are. It's like the inner configuration of the soul.
Like their emotions too, understanding communication, how they're going to respond and how to motivate and inspire them. Like every child is so unique in their way of upbringing and the way that they, handle things emotionally. So for you, what was it that led to this path? Because the path that you're on right now, I feel like is so necessary, where you're bridging the gap between Judaism, spirituality, Kabbalah. Was there a dark moment for you, a dark night of the soul that kind of forced you to reconnect to the divine?
So yes, and there still are, and it's part of the fun. It's part of the journey. You never, we're given approximately 120 years, if we're lucky, on this earth. Being in this gift that is to find the lost sparks, and returning them to the creator. So every moment is a gift, and the struggles and the dark nights of the soul moments remind you why you're here and why you have to keep working at it. And as soon as it's over, you don't really want it to be over. So absolutely, yes. Now, I am classically trained. I have a master's degree in Jewish mysticism from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. And I have another master's degree in Jewish studies, where I focus my studies on the redemption era and the Messiah, son of Joseph. So not the Messiah, son of David, a different type of redemptive energy. And I grew up in a home where Kabbalah was pretty mainstream. So this is what I know. And I only got to doing astrology when God put so many people on my path that were asking me for help.
They were asking you for help and guidance specifically with astrology, or just like in life in general, they're going through pain, through struggle, and they were looking to you as their guide?
Yes, and astrology is the most basic and simple way to reconnect back to yourself. So I would point people back to their charts all the time. And that's something that I used to do naturally. It was part of living a life that was aligned with the divine. right? Looking at the stars. Like the conversation that we have with astrology is the need for us to look up. You have to look up and remember that we're held by the divine. We're not alone. So the looking up, constantly looking up, is something that I would invite people to do with me. And when my friends started recommending their friends and their friends recommended their grandmothers, then I had to start charging for it essentially, and it became my job. But before that, it was just, hey, you have a question, you're coming to me because you know that I have this background. And also I've given you advice in the past and it has worked. Let me show you what I do. And what I do essentially is I'm reminding you to look up at the creator.
You're just reminding people who they are.
Yeah.
At their truest essence.
Exactly.
Where is the point where we can take astrology too far and depend too much on it and be like, no, I can't hang out with that person because their Leo is in rising, their sun is in Virgo, we just won't vibe. Because I feel like there's also people that might take things a little too far because they've had a bad experience with someone of a certain sign. So how can we avoid that?
This is the same way as taking religion too far. You know, you make religion your master and you become a slave when the whole point of religion was to free you and connect you to God, right? And it's also the same energy as turning your paycheck as a master and you become the slave. Like, no, your money is supposed to make you feel alive and excited. It's not supposed to keep you in a cage. And astrology obviously will do that to some people, but energetically, that's what they are drawn to. They are drawn to be controlled and they are drawn to be, inflicting pain to themselves. So they will just find a way. And this is a very strong Virgo signature of perfectionism and control. So you can look at the chart and say, well, I'm meant to marry someone like that, which the chart will definitely show you the tendencies of who you should be dating. Absolutely. Or I can only love someone that has Venus in Capricorn because I only want someone who's going to be very invested financially in the relationship. You can do that. But then you would do something that in Judaism we consider forbidden, which is really the fear of astrology being the master over the masses has turned the clergy into opposing astrology completely because people would worship energetically the planets and their powers. So the concept of the Judaism does not hold that astrology is real. We don't hold that the stars have power over us. Is only when you can use them as your best friends, as your guides, as your influences, but never as your masters. So people will look at the chart and they will turn it into another way to be imprisoned in the matrix. It just has a different name and a different color, but it's the same story.
Yeah, I relate to that a lot because my journey of Judaism has been a very interesting one. It's ever evolving, but I went to a Jewish day school up until 5th grade in California, got bar mitzvah, did the whole thing. My parents did the best they could. We did Shabbat dinners, but I never had a teacher or guide that I resonated with. You know, it was like these older rabbis and I just didn't feel an authentic connection with them. So for the next 20 years or so, I was completely disconnected, no Shabbat dinners. I was always proud of being Jewish, but I didn't have any rituals that kept me connected, if that makes sense. And it wasn't until right before October 7th that I was really going through a difficult period. And I went to Chabad, I started rapping tefillin, and then October 7th happened and it like awakened this fire inside of me. And ever since then, the last 2 years, I'm just like, how can I do this in a way that feels real to me, not because someone's saying it's a mitzvah or it's something I should do. Like rapping tefillin, I just started doing the netilat yadayim in the mornings. And I love that. And I feel like that authentic reconnection on my personal journey is like really made me just so much prouder to be Jewish rather than it being forced on me, you know, rather than someone telling me exactly what to do without the intention behind it. So I really connect to what you're saying about astrology. Have you received any lashback or negative feedback from people in the Jewish community who think that maybe you are doing a disservice to Judaism and focusing too much on this? I don't know. Sometimes that stuff happens.
So definitely I have people asking me if I have a rabbi backing up my work.
Okay.
Or what is my kosher certification, if you will. And I love to say that I don't have one. I will not have one. And if you need one, my work is not for you. because I'm in a constant conversation with the creator, which we all have the right to be in. And if you need that glad kosher stamp, then you can go find another teacher. I'm good.
Are most of your students, are they varied all across the spectrum of Judaism, like secular, Orthodox? Are there non-Jewish people learning with you? I'm curious to know.
I had a session with someone in India yesterday and someone in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia last week. I have people in Ireland, Scotland. I have a lot of Catholic people, a lot of converts, and
That's amazing.
And Jews from across the spectrum. I have ultra-Orthodox people. I have a lot of ultra-Orthodox people that are my members of my community, so they show up regularly for my work. I have women who shave their heads under their hats. That's how religious they are. They don't have social media, so I don't even know how they find me, but I have these people, and I have a lot of Catholics. I have a lot of people that are searching for another kind of truth. I have people that have to be reborn as Jews in this incarnation, and I guide them through that.
Wow.
And that's strong Sagittarius influence, by the way. Like very often I will find a lot of Sagittarius energy in converts because Sagittarius is the seeker. There is more, and their soul. And I also will see it in a birthday. So I just had this magnificent girl, and she tells me our Hebrew birthday, and Hebrew birthday is Chai Adar, which is the 18th of the month of Adar, and 18th is obviously life, and Adar is a sign of Pisces, and Pisces is the sign of the veil is very thin. It's the sign that's the closest to the divine, and she's had this life of knowing that she was meant to be a Jew, and with the transits happening, because obviously not only do we have a birth chart, but we also have the planets that are moving constantly over our chart, activating certain parts of our life. She had the Saturn and Neptune conjunction, which is something that happens every thousands and thousands of years, happening on her sun sign, as she has stopped talking to her parents. And it will be a year to the point that she made the decision to become a Jew. So things are so insanely aligned.
Wow.
That you just realize it's like God is in the room. But what I do with my work, much more than an offering, much more than saying, this is my teaching, and I do not call myself a teacher or a guide at all. I invite people to do the same for themselves. And that's what I'm trying to model. I'm trying to model you're a free being. God put you on this planet for a very specific reason that we don't know what it is, and you don't know yet. Yeah. And can you have this very exciting, healthy, at times confusing, but very alive relationship with the divine?
Yeah. So obviously, there's a lot to learn with astrology, and we're going to dive deeper into this. You mentioned something about Hebrew birthdays, and I'm curious to dive deeper into this as well, because I've recently been learning more about the significance of our Hebrew name. Like mine's Yirmiyahu. And I asked ChatGPT, like, what is the spiritual significance of Yirmiyahu? And what it told me was unbelievable. It was like, Yahoo is like, another name for God. And it was like a seeker of truth, like communicating uncomfortable truths to the world, awakening people's souls. Like, I was like, whoa, this is wild. Like, it almost seems like this is directly related to our astrology. And I'm curious to know how much you've gone into that topic of Hebrew names and the significance. Because that was something going to a Jewish school, I would think, my parents are dropping 20, 30K a year for tuition. It's like, at least tell me my Hebrew name and the significance, but there's nothing like that.
Chabad school will tell you your name right away.
Yeah.
Let's give it up to Chabad, because they will tell you your Hebrew name and your Hebrew birthday within 5 minutes of meeting them. Yeah. Because it's true Kabbalah, and that's really what they do. So I have to say that a Chabad school would have told you your Hebrew name, and they would have called you that. So that being said, it's not that astrology and the Hebrew names work together, is that all these different systems are revealing one truth. So astrology aligned with your Hebrew name, aligned with your Hebrew birthday, aligned with the energies of the planets that are moving over your chart right now, they're all revealing the way that God is trying to talk to you. So it's not that, well, astrology is here and nature's there and my name is there. It's like, it's all one big, beautiful thing. So essentially, Kabbalah talks about astrology, and it says that the world was created with the Hebrew letters. The Hebrew letters are the building blocks of this world. So God took the letters and set them up into a certain way. And that's how we have our world. This is how I started my work, because I'm an artist and I make Hebrew letter art, which is meant to create this experiences. People see my art, I want them to feel this meditative state, which is what I was trying to recreate, the energy of if you lift the veil out of this world, you will see only letters. Everything is made out of Hebrew letters. So my paintings are made out of letters, and every letter rules over a constellation and a zodiac sign. Your name is made out of Hebrew letters, and every letter carries a specific soul energy. And when I call you Yirmiyahu, I am awakening the power of the Yud and the Resh and the Mem and the Yud and the He and the Vav in this very specific order. And I'm giving juice back to your soul. So I say to people, make sure that at least once a day someone calls you by your full Hebrew name to reawaken that power inside of you.
Maybe I should go by Yirmiyahu. Should I? Do you think I should?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Instead of Jeremy?
Yes, because Jeremy is a copy of Yirmiyahu, but the original is Yirmiyahu.
Wow. I think I'm going to do it. What do you guys think? Yirmiyahu?
Yirmiyahu.
Wow, let's go.
Yes.
Let's go. Okay. I have a lot to unpack for myself now. This is good. Coming back to the dating and stuff, because there's stuff that we didn't address. We talked before we were on air, about twin flame, soulmate. I think these terms are thrown around a lot without fully understanding the significance of them. So what is a twin flame?
So first of all, it's very important to know that these are very modern terms. So people are still like figuring out what that means.
Right.
This word, twin flames, is very recent. Twin flame essentially is someone that's going to awaken profound energies inside of you. A twin flame is going to make you feel like you know them, that you've known them, and you have to end up with them. However, they're not a soulmate because somehow things are not working out. You can't marry them. They're married to somebody else. Things are not lining up. The family doesn't approve. So a twin flame has this very transitory energy. The twin flame has this transitory energy of it's hot and heavy, but somehow it can't land. It can't be a long-lasting relationship. And your astrology, if there is someone that you feel is a twin flame, so you feel very pulled towards them, but you also know that it doesn't 100% feel right, even though part of it does. You want to put both charts next to each other because we have something in our chart called our north node and our south node. The north node is the trajectory of your soul. The south node is where it's coming from. And the nodal axis, which is that line where those energies stand on, if somebody's sun, moon, or rising sits on that axis, the relationship will feel intensely faded. It will just feel meant to be. It's not necessarily meant to be, though.
Because I think we've probably all been in a relationship that was very intense at the beginning, and maybe it felt like almost too intense. Like, why are we fighting or arguing about something that seems insignificant? It seems too soon to be doing that. And at the same time, it's like, well, maybe this is actually helping us evolve and grow and ascend and learn about each other more. Do you have an opinion on that?
Yeah.
Like, how do we know if this is toxic and a red flag, or if this is actually for our higher good and it's actually accelerating our growth individually and collectively?
Something that is toxic should be avoided, because your responsibility is always to your soul, and your soul is here to grow. A toxic situation will make you rot and sit in something that is painful and difficult. Now, if it happened to you, obviously it was a tikkun. The souls were meeting to repair something that comes from a previous life. So when you feel that energy and you don't know what it is, it's from a previous life. You may have been married. You may have been brothers and sisters. You may have been boss and employee. You may have been, and this has come up because obviously when I do deeper work with people and we bring in Hebrew birthdays, Hebrew names, and all the charts, and we bring the family charts, you can really see the pattern of that person having been a father or a mother, and a parent that may have abandoned the child. And then the anger is so strong, the anger of how dare you abandon me, even though the person they've just met in this lifetime. So it's very important to know you will have people put on your path for repair. You are supposed to repair. And it does not mean that you sleep with them or that you marry them or that you stay best friends. Sometimes the relationship itself is very volatile But when it's time to go, because it's taxing on your health and your mental health, you have the responsibility. Your commitment is to your soul. So you have to cut it and you have to consider the tikkun over. So you have to say, I consider this karmic cycle over. I've done everything that I could. I bless and love you, and I move on.
Yeah. And I guess that's the most challenging part, is to actually recognize that this person showed up into my life for a reason. And I'm identifying that early on before I repeat the cycle. Because if you don't learn your lesson, someone else is going to come into your life with the same exact qualities, just in a different costume. And you're going to continue perpetuating that same type of relationship.
Yeah.
So it's like that recognition and really realizing. I feel like a good question that I sometimes ask myself is like, why is this happening in my movie? You know, like, why are you showing up in my life at this time? Why are we recording this podcast? Why did I get stuck in traffic? Or why did that Uber cancel on me last minute? Like, all of these little moments that happen throughout the day are usually happening for a reason. And I feel especially true with people and relationships is there's always some sort of synchronicity. So when it comes to getting intimate with someone, right? One of the things I've learned in the last couple of years is that even when we kiss somebody, we're exchanging DNA. And that's a powerful exchange of energy. And I think oftentimes people are very loose with their energy, their sexual energy. And they don't realize that if I'm exchanging DNA with you, I might be taking on some of your traumas. I might be taking on some of your birth chart. So what are your beliefs around that in terms of intimacy and just being very mindful and intentional with who we exchange that energy with?
So first of all, it's very interesting to say that according to some opinions in Kabbalah, kissing is much more intimate than sexual relationships. Because when you get technical in Kabbalah, there's a lot of conversations around bodily fluids and what they all represent. The human body is a microcosm for the universe. And every organ and every liquid represents something else in the scheme of all things. So I just want to put that out there, because kissing and exchanging the bodily fluids of the mouth are sometimes stronger than sex.
So what does saliva represent?
So we would have to get very deep into Kabbalah for me to talk about this right now, which maybe that's not where we're going.
Maybe round 2. We'll do that.
Yeah, but
all the bodily fluids.
It's very powerful.
Okay.
Because once you, the same way you can say, okay, I'm in the car, you know, this is happening, why is this happening? You're always in the conversation with God. What are you doing to me right now? And because I know everything you're doing is for the best, clearly there is something in here for me. And when that's how you live your life, you're always winning. And you're always in sovereignty, and you're always in conversation with the divine, meaning you're opening more doors to yourself all the time. So in terms of sexual energy, what's very important about this question is the exchange of energy in general. And I want to take it a step further, because forget sex and forget kissing. To me, the way that I operate in my life, I don't want to exchange the air that you breathe if I don't operate at the same frequency as you. So I don't want to be in a room with you, breathing in your air. And I don't want you to breathe out my air if your values and your frequency of life does not align with my soul. So it's extremely important to think about energy exchange, because what you're going to do essentially is either lower your soul frequency or elevate it. We're here in the world to elevate our soul. That's why the soul came down. She came all the way to elevate. But a lot of experiences will bring it down. They will. Our modern world is shaped like a trap. And you have to know you're always playing the game of trying to rise up and climb your own mountain. You have to keep your eyes on the prize. So people your soul is here. It's a great gift that you receive to be here. Right? When she comes down, she gets a chance as elevating. And not everybody gets that chance. Not every soul is granted the gift of being on earth. So if you're going to play small, then too bad. Don't do it. Don't waste this opportunity sleeping around and just lowering your standards, because this world is shaped like a trap and you're falling in the trap. Don't fall in the trap. Stay strong.
Yeah. Well, I think if people understood that, like it's definitely something over the last few years that I've understood myself way more, is like exchanging sexual energy with someone, it lingers. It's not just like in that moment that you're with that person. It's like the next day, the next week. And it's like, if you're completely unfamiliar with this person's life and unfamiliar with their past, you have no idea how that 30, 40-minute exchange is going to impact your energy for the next week, the next month, even the next year.
Years.
Like, how long do soul contracts last after you've been intimate with someone? Is there a specific time period they last?
So it really depends, again, on a lot of different factors. But they could last forever. Especially if the person's soul imprint comes from a specific place. The way that Kabbalah understands this is we are all made out of the body of primordial men. And some people come from the heart, and some people come from the knees, and some people come from the toes. And essentially, you really want to stay in this original place where you are meant to serve God in the best way possible. So if you are lowering your standards extremely, you're really going there, and you are, let's picture for this story someone that has a really bad life, someone that doesn't have good values, someone who is very checked out, someone who's cruel, someone who kills people. Let's just really think this is a bad person.
Right.
This could be a reason why your soul would have to come all the way back down to heal. So it could last forever. It could last up to 7 years. It could definitely last a long time energetically if you're tuned in. If you're tuned in, the sexuality, intimacy is at the essence of what makes us godly, because the most close to God that we can be, the closest to God that we can be, is when we emulate the Creator. Our goal is to emulate the Creator and to be loving and giving and generous and creative. God is always creating the world anew. When we are intimate with somebody, we are playing around with the energy of ultimate creation, which is procreation. So when you are playing very small around the energies of procreation, which are actually the most godly and the most elevated and lofty powers that we have, you're taking it very low, because you are taking something that's extremely high, and you're not dealing with it and treating it with the respect and the reverence that it deserves. So it's like taking something very beautiful and throwing it down the sewer and thinking that it's okay, you'll just get it tomorrow, when really the damage is done.
We were speaking about like the Matrix and society trying to disconnect us from our highest selves. We're living in a time right now where promiscuity is being glorified. And I think it's even coming from the feminist movement of telling women like that you're the same equal as men. It's like birth control, all of these things, changing the mindset, going on dating apps, selling your soul on Instagram with all these thirst trap pictures, and really, really glorifying like sleeping around, like as if it's something to admire, or like there's no issue with that, which I think is part of the issue. Like we've removed so much of the sacredness from actual intimacy and connection,
Yeah.
And I feel like people understanding the energetic effects of it could potentially positively impact humanity. Like, oh shit, let me think before I actually go out with this person, because oftentimes we're just feeling lonely, chasing instant gratification. We all have needs and desires, So that seems like a very important issue right now. And then also, I wanted to ask your opinion, men and women. We're living in an interesting time where there's actually confusion about genders. All right. I don't want to get too political, but it's interesting that there seems to be people that have clumped men and women together when innately we're very different. Men are the sun, women are the moon. Men are the light, women are the vessel, right? In Kabbalah, men have a 24-hour cycle. Our energy and our hormones are pretty much consistent every day. And women have a 28-day cycle. The luteal phase, follicular phase, menstruation, ovulation. So they're constantly going through these different waves of emotions every day and every week, which is something I don't think most women are taught, or men. And I'm curious to know, does your work kind of dive deeper into this in terms of teaching women how to actually, not only track their period, but really understand their energy and emotions throughout the month?
Yes, absolutely. So something that we also learned from astrology and from looking at the birth chart is that, yes, the archetypes are there, but sometimes a man is more feminine and a woman is more masculine, and that's okay. As long as they have an inner balance within, and then as long as the relationship is balanced, right? So a Cancer man, for example, will be much more feminine than a Leo woman. And as long as they can work well together, then it's totally fine. And in this relationship dynamic, the man may be more like the moon and the woman may be more like the sun. But again, here, if we're talking about two souls coming back to each other and we have one soul meeting its other half, that's totally fine. But if you're in the world and a woman is taught to act like a man, that is to say, she's not paying attention to her cycles, she's not paying attention to her mood, she's not paying attention to her bodily changes, then, the success will not be long lasting. It will be very ephemeral because it's based on a lie. And our first commandment was to look at the moon and to have a cyclical life, right? Our main first commandment, the first commandment that makes us a people, is look up. This moon is yours. It's yours to make a calendar out of. So we don't make a calendar out of the sun, we make a calendar out of the moon. And the moon is sometimes here, sometimes not, right? She moves. So we are all actually moon children. Right? We are cyclical beings. Now, that is to say, within a relationship, the fire signs and the air signs represent masculine energy, and the earth and water sign represent feminine energy. And sometimes a man who is very feminine, soft, gentle, intuitive, open, receptive, artistic, awesome, is in a class of Capricorn boys. Actually, Capricorn is feminine, but Leo boys or Aries boys, and everyone's aggressive and loud and strong. And we're telling that little boy who's actually very feminine, very intuitive, very godly, we're telling him that he has to climb the corporate ladder and he has to make a lot of money and he has to fight back. And he doesn't want to fight because he knows he can go deeper. He's very intuitive, right? So the Virgo energy is feminine. It's the energy of the earth. It's let me make something out of this earth. Taurus is very feminine. Taurus is the sign of healing through nature, healing through the beauty of nature, healing through sensuality. And that is to say, not necessarily physical sensuality, but smells, flowers.
This is Taurus?
Taurus heals through nature, heals through herbs, heals through plants, heals through flowers, heals through grounding, feet on the earth, feet on rocks, feet on the soil. Virgo takes the soil and turns it into magic. Virgo takes wheat and turns it into bread. That's Virgo magic. So if I'm telling this boy, hey, this is what a man's supposed to look like you have to fight. And I am completely dismissing his soul powers. He's a healer. This person is a healer. He will teach other people how to connect to nature and to find God in nature. That's feminine, right? So we need our feminine men and we need our masculine women. We need the women who are ambitious, who want to create empires, to create these empires, even if they have to take 5 days off a month because they have to rest when they're on their periods, or if they have to take 2 years off when they're nursing their babies. We still have to say to them, here is the toolkit for women to build an empire in a man's world. And we are behind you because we need those warriors. We need those lionesses, right? Yeah. We need the women that want to stand on top of skyscrapers and say, hey, this is how it's going to be done now. So that divine feminine energy, which is the Shekhinah, the divine feminine essence of God, is inside of all of us. Now, in terms of relationship, you need the good balance.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So what sign then? What sign is the most masculine? If there is one.
Yeah. The sign that's the most masculine, let's do 2 signs. Aries and Leo.
Okay. And most feminine signs?
The most feminine sign is Cancer.
Okay. And you also said Taurus is...
Okay, so Taurus. Taurus is an earth sign. There's 3 earth signs. The cardinal, which is the sign that starts the season. That's cardinal earth is Capricorn. Then we have fixed earth, that's Taurus. And we have a mutable earth. Mutable is the sign that transitions from a season to the next. That's Virgo. So the moon is called exalted in Taurus. Exalted is when a planet is the happiest. So she's functioning at all cylinders. And when the moon is in Taurus, she's exalted. Because Taurus is going to create a safe space for her emotions. Taurus is going to say, sit here on this comfy chair. I'm going to make you a tea. I'm going to wrap you in this cashmere blanket and give you something delicious to eat. And the moon feels like, ooh, I can be here. I feel so safe to feel. And that's the moon in Taurus. The moon is exalted in Taurus, meaning she's very happy, centered, balanced, grounded emotions, which is where emotions want to be. Right? So the water signs are the most emotional, the most sensitive, but they're also intense and sensitive and reckless and soft and scared. But the earth sign is going to hold that energy and make it real. That's what Taurus wants to do. So with Virgo, we have refinement, we have healing, we have let's take something real and turn it into magic. Virgo can make magic, real life magic, right? That's also intention setting. When Virgos can set intentions, I'm going to take a walk on the water. I'm going to take a walk by the beach. And I know that within these 10 minutes, I'm going to speak to God and I'm going to feel better after my walk because I set that intention. That's Virgo energy. Yeah. My feet on the sand, I want to create a reality with that energy. And she knows that the Virgo energy knows that after that's over, I am a changed being. Virgo. Taurus is very fixed. So Taurus is the coziness, the sensuality, the smells. Right? A Taurus moon smells nice and wants to smell other people's smell. It's very physical.
One of the things that I've noticed about myself that I struggle with is I have been pretty bad at confrontation. It makes me very anxious. I'm naturally a people pleaser. So when there is tension or confrontation, I tend to be very avoidant. And that usually just makes the problem worse because the other person is confused and I feel closed off. I feel like scared to express myself. Is that anywhere in my chart? I'm just curious.
So first of all, we do need to get the right chart because we're not sure.
True.
So we need to do that, right? But that being said, the Taurus moon, I told you about our light aspect, right? That's the aspects I described her when she's in her power. When she's disempowered, the Taurus is the bull, and the bull does not move. The bull is stubborn, and once it knows something, it just knows it. It's very hard to move a bull from its comfortable patch of grass. So if you know something, you may feel like, well, that's the truth, and I'm not willing to budge. So then we have a lot of Virgo energy, and the Virgo energy by definition is very anxious because it's the power that you have in changing. And if you don't change, if you don't move, if you don't exercise, if you don't dance, that energy is stuck and it creates anxiety, inner anxiety. So I would love to dive deeper into your chart once we know the chart.
Yeah.
The Leo rising energy, which we're not sure if it's Leo rising or Virgo rising, but the Leo is the boss. The Leo is the king. The king does not come down from the pedestal. So to say to you, well, you have to step down and you have to ask for forgiveness feels like it's a crime. And that's the shadow aspect of the Leo rising. The Leo is the king. So we want your kingly energy. We want you to step into the world feeling like you own the world. This is why God incarnated you during this time. Right? Leo rising is meant to be in its ego. I'm going to shine. I'm going to show you guys. That's the point. Now, the way that you shine is through healing others. Because the Virgo is the sign that your sun is in, right? But the sun rules Leo. So the Leo rising is, I am coming like a king to heal you.
I really, really relate to that. Wow. That's amazing. So one of the things that I know triggers some people is this idea that our soul chose our parents. Like, our soul chose our parents before birth. Because if you grow up and you have an alcoholic dad, an abusive mom, It's like, what the fuck did I do to deserve this? But you're telling me that my soul chose these parents before my birth? How is that possible?
If you were an alcoholic, and not you, if somebody was an alcoholic and beat their child to death, and they get back to God and they want another chance, God says, what kind of chance do you think I'm going to give you? Well, let me suffer the way that I made this child suffer. Let me be that child. Let me have the alcoholic father.
So
yes, you choose your parents. You choose your parents, and one of the 10 commandments is to respect them. So it doesn't really matter what they do to you. You have to respect them. You don't have to have a relationship with them when they're abusive and toxic, because remember, your priority is to your soul over your parents, but you cannot talk badly about them. You may have to sue them, but it has to be done in a very respectful manner. You have to have reverence for the choice of your soul, and you have to trust her that she made the right choice. So you do not have to have toxic people in your life. Actually, you're not allowed to, because they destroy your joy. And our joy is our first commandment, right? We have to serve God in joy. If you cannot be in joy, you cannot serve God.
Yeah.
However, trusting your soul, trusting that your soul made the right decision by choosing these parents is extremely important, to let go of blame, to let go of victim mentality, to let go of being a martyr, so you can finally take accountability for your life.
I feel like it's very easy to blame our parents for the things that we don't like about ourselves, but we oftentimes don't give them credit. Even if you did have an alcoholic father, you know, there's 2 twin brothers. They had an alcoholic dad. One of them went on to be like his dad and be an alcoholic, and the other one never touched alcohol. And they asked them both, like, why? Why did you choose that path? He's like, I saw my dad do it, so I followed his footsteps. The one who never touched alcohol said the same thing. I watched my dad. I didn't want to destroy my life. So we still have that free will, and we still have the opportunity to look at everything as a lesson that our parents taught us, good or bad, right? What is, I don't know if this is too personal to ask you, but like, I guess nothing about motherhood? Nothing. Like, what do you, other than, based on your experience, other than learning your child's birth chart, like, what are some other helpful tips in terms of consciously parenting your kids? Because we're living in a world that's pretty wild, and it's just getting more insane with social media, AI, you know, what's real, what's not, where's my child getting information from? So are there any things that you recommend that you've seen be successful?
Yes. You have to be radical with your values, because children are raised in an ecosystem. If you let the enemy in through the door, then don't come and complain 3 years down the line. Your responsibility is first to your soul and then to your children's soul. They really come close second. So if you are a role model, you are showing children how it is to live this life in a conscious way, aligned with the divine, aligned with the powers and gifts of your soul, aligned with your values, no matter what the world will do. Then you can expect them to follow in those footsteps. And it's another very important point for raising children, is to know that they have their own relationship with God, and you're not the relationship with God. It's a soul that chose you, but they're on their own path. And sometimes parents over-identify with their children's failures and successes, and it's really not the point. This has nothing to do with you. This is a soul that decided to come through you, but you are not the end-all be-all. And that is an act of faith, of knowing that God is also their parent and that God is protecting them, and it's not for you to do everything.
The word bitachon. What does bitachon mean to you?
It's active faith. So if emunah is believing and this inner knowing that God is in charge, bitachon is living your life as if it has already happened, because you know that this faith is real, and that is make it tangible. So make the call. So apply for the job. So dress like you already have it. That's bitachon.
Speaking of dressing, clothing, and the way that it impacts our energy and vibration. Something that I've really done my best to do the last year or two is wear more cotton, more wool, more linen fabrics, remove like the polyester, because everything that touches our skin penetrates our skin and penetrates our bloodstream. So it's going to shift our energy and vibration. And I feel like these organic, natural materials are just healthier. They just allow me to breathe more and I feel better. Is there anything that you apply in terms of clothing?
Yeah, I'm wearing 100% linen right now.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Amazing. Awesome.
100% linen and cotton socks.
What are some other things that you consciously do every day to make sure that you stay elevated with your energy and vibration?
So, to get back to the clothing conversation, it really goes to show that every single thing we do when we wake up in the morning is an opportunity for elevation and for growth and for connection with our soul. So if you're going to put on a $5 polyester t-shirt that was made in very sketchy circumstances in some parts of the world that you can't pronounce, you are choosing to refuse to take accountability for your actions. You're choosing to close your eyes at the way that some people are treated and how some people are making their money, the way that the ocean is going to get polluted, and you're deciding not to care because this is convenient for you in the here and now. When you go out of your way and you save up more money to buy something you'll have more wear out of, right? You're getting something 100% silk, 100% linen, it costs more money. You have to be more intentional. You have to invest time, money, and energy in making that choice that essentially is aligning you back with your values. So every choice, every step you make, like you said, you started washing your hands upon awakening, your first decision is to connect with the divine. That's your first decision. And that should be your second and your third, and it should be your entire day. But clothing, you also said something interesting, which is it impacts our skin, therefore our bloodstream. But forget about the blood. Your skin is our largest organ. Our skin needs protection.
Yeah.
So even the skin, before the blood, and then our energy, and then our cells turnover, everything is impacted by every single decision we make. This puts you back in your sovereign power. We all have the opportunity to be sovereign beings in this lifetime. And when you close your eyes and you pretend not to know, you're acting like you're a follower. You're acting like you're part of the king's court. You're forgetting that you are the king. So clothing is extremely important because clothing, that's the barrier between our number one vessel, which is our body, which is very important for people to remember that our body is on loan.
Our body what?
Our bodies are on loan.
Okay, our bodies are on loan.
Like our bodies are not ours to do what we want with.
Okay.
Right? Our bodies need to be protected. They need to be cared for. They need to be loved. They need to be tended to. And they need to be returned at the right time. So to understand that you have a responsibility to your number one vessel, which is your body, and how every single opportunity you have in this lifetime can bring you closer or disconnect you from God is critical. So I think that's a very basic, important practice that everybody should take on clothes.
It's crazy that you said wearing organic materials costs more money, because I recently took a girl, won't mention any names. I brought her to Aloe Yoga in the Aventura Mall, and they're charging like $300 for a basic like yoga outfit. And I'm like, every single girl I see is either wearing Lululemon or Aloe Yoga. They're doing yoga, they're working out, they're going on a walk, they're sweating. So that polyester, all of those toxic materials are absorbing through their skin into their bloodstream and negatively impacting their energy.
And the world.
But the thing about it is they look so damn good, Naomi. I mean, those yoga pants and like the whole outfit, it looks beautiful. Like, what's an alternative for girls to wear where they like want to feel good and also look good? Do you know any brands, like activewear brands?
So, it's what's very interesting is that we think that it looks good because we are formatted to think that this means looking good. So if your legs look like this and your butt looks like that, that equals exciting and sexy and looking good. But if I see you in breezy linen and if I see you in silk, you may sweat a little more because it's natural fabrics and you're going to sweat. You're going to express yourself. Your body's going to express itself. That was formatted to be made to believe that that's disgusting or unhygienic. Who said that? I choose to think that if you are wearing 100% cotton when you exercise, which is really what you should be doing, or silk or linen, because again, when you exercise, your pores are open. So the plastic comes into your body, which turns you into a plastic person. And then the world is filled with plastic people. And then we question, why are there no more values? Why are people not connected to their soul? Why are people saying that these people are right when they're wrong? What's wrong with the world? Everyone is, the majority of people are vibrating at plastic frequency, which is the frequency of death. So then we question, wait, what's up? Well, that's what's up. So I think that, white bread used to be considered a treat. We used to have white bread on Rosh Chodesh or on Shabbat. Like challah used to be this white bread delicacy. You can't have it every day. So if once in a while you're going to wear the sexy aloe yoga set and it's like, turns you on and you love it, then yeah, you can have sugar once in a while. It's fine. You're supposed to have sugar once in a while, but once in a while. So the question is always, who said that was ugly? Who said that was pretty? The people that I'm selling aloe yoga say that is pretty.
Yeah. Wow. You just totally blew my mind. You said the plastic frequency. That plastic is essentially equivalent to death. And when someone's wearing aloe yoga Lululemon, made of polyester, which comes from petroleum and plastic, and then they start sweating, those chemicals are absorbing into their bloodstream, and it's turning them into a plastic person operating at this lower vibration. Wow.
Now, let's add.
That's crazy.
Let's add people literally injecting plastic into their bodies on top of that.
Yeah.
And let's add people eating plastic food.
Are you referring to implants, like breast implants?
All kinds of things.
Okay.
All kinds of things, I don't want to blame anybody and I don't blame someone when I see them make the wrong choice because I know it's not their fault.
Yeah.
Right? When children are raised on junk food and plastic clothes, it's not their fault that they're going to turn into a broken adult. And I don't blame them for that. And I don't blame their parents, because sometimes it's all that's available for some people. Sometimes the $5 t-shirt is the only thing that's available for a lot of people. And therefore, we understand that the world we live in, but yeah, you have to ask, who said this was beautiful? Who said a woman after 30 forget 30, a woman after 22 having wrinkles on her forehead is ugly? Who said that? I refuse that belief. I think that wrinkles are beautiful. I think they're a sign of wisdom and grace and divine feminine beauty. And that's my belief. And I refuse to take on the belief of people that are sitting in corporate towers making money out of people's brokenness.
Yeah. Well, Miami is kind of the center of that. I feel like that's one of the biggest differences I notice when I'm like here versus Israel, for example. And again, no judgment towards any of these things, but it's very rare to actually find a woman who doesn't have lip injections or breast implants or an obscene amount of Botox, And again, I can't imagine what it's like with the beauty standards that there are today. It's like so much pressure, I feel like. And when you're disconnected from your soul, you're always going to chase something external to feel whole, and a lot of times it's messing with your body, your beautiful vessel, talking about food and how that impacts our energy. It's like, I don't think most people understand that 90% of our serotonin is produced in the gut. And if we're eating trash for food, we're feeding our gut trash, we're feeding our brain trash. We're going to feel like crap. And then on the other side of the spectrum, once we start elevating our decisions when it comes to nutrition, like that's when we start to just feel better, become closer tied and connected to our intuition, mental clarity, focus, etc. Nutrition wise, are there any things that like are daily non-negotiables for you? Like whether it's like lemon water with apple cider vinegar, like what are some of the protocols for you?
So I wake up in the morning and I fill up about 5 to 10 glass bottles with lemon water.
Wow.
And sea salt. That's my morning protocol. I make sure and typically I do a chart reading. So I'll read someone's birth chart and I'll try to finish one of those bottles.
Okay.
And waking up, it's warm lemon water on an empty stomach, at least 2 full glasses. And then in terms of the rest of my day, I don't eat processed food. It's just, I'm also French, so that's not part of my upbringing. So it's also not part of what I bring home.
Yeah.
So everything is organic fruits and vegetables and proteins, but everything is, you know, as clean as it can be. And I do eat junk. I do eat sugar. Like I do have chocolate once in a while, but it's on, you know, it's on top of my pyramid. It's what I'm going to do to soothe myself sometimes. But I'm not going to have food coloring. I'm not going to have anything sticky. And a very important point with food is people forget that teeth are also organs. Teeth are bodily organs. So people will eat like really bad food for their teeth, and then they'll just get a tooth taken out or they'll get a cavity filled in, and they're forgetting that this leads to a lot of medical procedures.
Yeah.
Antibiotics will be taken because of a cavity, because of an injection. So this, you know, the body as a whole ecosystem is very important. And what you bring into your house, like don't bring food you don't want to eat into your house.
Yeah.
And don't eat after a certain time, right? I try not to eat after like 6 or 8 p.m.
Yeah.
So drink a lot. And I don't obsess. I am not an obsessive person. I don't have that personality, so I'm not going to be, you know, obsessive about any of these practices. But the water to flush the system, especially that I read people's charts, so I connect with people's deep energies, so that, and steaming. I steam every day. It's very important.
Steam room.
Steam room, yeah.
Like at the gym, at the
steam
house.
Steam shower every day.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think I have one of those now in my new apartment. It's amazing.
Steam shower with essential oil, eucalyptus to just like release and to sweat all the toxins out. And also, obviously, yoga and walking.
Got it. Do you change your nutrition based on the time of month?
No, not at all.
Okay.
No, I'm way too lazy for that. I'm not. Yeah. This is pretty. To me, this is pretty basic.
Yeah.
Water, steaming, working out, yoga is a spiritual practice of mine. Being my body, moving my body, connecting my body with my body in that sense. But otherwise, I'm pretty. Like I eat pasta. I'm French, so I eat pizza. You know. I drink wine.
Well, that's what's crazy is I'll go to Europe and spend like 2 weeks in Italy, and I'll eat multiple pizzas every day, pasta, whatever I want. And not only will I see improvements with my physical body and my skin, energetically, I feel better. And I'm eating bad foods. But the thing is, they're not spraying a bunch of glyphosate on the soil there. So you're actually getting real food that is coming from real soil rather than destroyed like a lot of stuff in America is with all these additives. Glyphosate is one of the things that I found to be extremely, extremely harmful on the gut, on our energy levels, on our skin.
Glyphosate has killed hundreds of thousands of people, and it's available at Costco.
It's crazy, right?
So, you know, talking about the matrix, the soul is walking this very narrow bridge. And it's very narrow because from side to side, and she can fall and get hurt. And that's an example of that. It's like you're here to stay conscious. You're here to stay elevated. You're here to worry about your nutrition. And you're drinking your filtered water in a glass bottle, not in a plastic bottle. But the world will hand you plastic bottles, and the world will have you smell glyphosate as you're shopping for vegetables at Costco. So
what about perfumes too for women and colognes for men? Like that's also
cannot be used. They cannot be used.
So do you use essential oils as an alternative for that? Yeah. I
have no synthetic fragrances in my home at all. Not in soaps, not in shampoos, not in cleaning products. People will smell poison day in and day out and slowly die from the inside. Perfumes, women will spray perfumes on their thyroid. They will poison themselves, and they will cost them a lot of money, and then they're going to get on thyroid medication. So whatever you do, ask, why am I doing this? Who said this was the beautiful way to act? Who said this was beautiful? Who said this is the right smell?
Yeah.
I as of now, I've healed thank God I didn't have to heal them, but my pheromones, I'm very, very sensitive to smell. So actually I got into a hotel and I left immediately. I said, I'm not staying here because the cleaning products aren't clean.
That happened here?
It happened yesterday. Yeah, in Miami. Yeah, I got into a hotel and it smelled like bleach. And
Can we say the hotel or no?
No.
Wow, you're so much nicer than I am.
But to me, this is paramount, and we have a commitment. You should watch over your body's carefully. So to me, I'm doing a mitzvah. I'm fulfilling a positive commitment when I refuse to stay in a room that smells like bleach.
Okay. A couple final questions that I want to do rapid fire with you. Okay. You seem like you have everything together. You seem like when I listen to you, I'm like, wow, like goals. I'm like, I'm trying to get at this woman's level and frequency right now. What is something maybe recently that you struggled with that hasn't come so easy, or a challenge that you faced? Is there anything that comes to mind?
Totally. Yeah. So obviously I'm presenting right now. I'm telling you my beliefs and I'm telling you my higher ways of thinking. And it's true that some things for Americans at least are hard, but for French people, they're not so hard. So I don't want to pretend that this is, you know what I mean? Like, but yesterday I had a really hard day. I knew why it was happening astrologically, you know, but I'm not putting all my energy into the stars. And it was a really lame, bad day. And I love that. I love being able to be like, God, like, what the hell? Like, where are you? Like, this hurts. Love that, because I'm so alive and I'm here and I'm trying every day. I'm trying, you know, and I may get on the phone and be like, you know, talking to a client and I'm like healing their life and I'm like therapy and I'm telling them how to heal themselves. And then I hang up and I want to cry and I'm like on the ground crying. Yeah. And that's so cool. That's my life. It's okay. Like, I don't want to have it all figured out. I don't want to die. You know, like I'm here, I'm trying every day. And every single lesson I learn does become wisdom. You know, and then I can share with a friend how they can manage their own pain.
Yeah. One of the things I struggle with, I guess, is, you know, you're probably unfamiliar. You probably just like recently started following some of my stuff, but like for most of my last decade or so, I've been coaching people, like high level people, mentoring people with their health, their mindset, their mental health, helping them overcome challenges and helping them create breakthroughs. And one of the things that I haven't yet figured out is how to communicate my own struggles and challenges openly and authentically without losing credibility, if that makes sense. Because it's like, okay, if this person is supposed to help me, right? If I'm supposed to be able to trust them to overcome XYZ, but they seem to be really going through their own shit, like how are they going to help me? You know what I mean? So I don't know if you have any advice for me in that way, but it's like, it's something that I wrestle with is, I've never had a therapist. I've kind of just worked through all my problems by myself with the tools that I have. Like, I wonder if you ever face a similar challenge now that you're creating and you're more out there online, like sharing some of those harder parts of your life. Is that something you kind of just stay away from and you kind of just keep it on your own journey, or what?
So basically, I think there was a time with influencers and with content creators online where life was super curated.
Right.
And I don't know how long it lasted, maybe 10 years. And then people got really sick of it. And then it flipped and content creators started to get very vulnerable.
Right.
And started crying online and sharing about their gut issues and their life issues. And to me, it always felt extremely performative. To me, like if you're crying on camera, you're not really crying.
Yeah.
So I don't need to watch you perform like you're crying, because it's such a disconnect from what's really happening. And you are influencing people in the wrong way. You're making people feel like, oh, I should cry on camera. Let the whole world watch this very intimate moment I'm having with myself, and really robbing them from that moment to connect with God, because now they have to feel themselves. So personally, I don't share my personal journeys online at all or with anybody. I have my close group of friends that are my friends, but my problems are not for the world to witness. They're real, they're intimate, they're messy, they're horrible at times, and it's for me and God, and I'm not going to market that. And that never has to become a part of my brand. And again, I don't call myself a teacher or a guide, because I don't pretend to teach or guide, but I'm going to share something that I know with you. And to me, my privacy is my most important it's the most important aspect of my life. It's what's truly mine. And if I can't have that, and I would invite listeners to pay attention to, if you can't have privacy, if everything's online for the world to consume, then when do you actually connect with your soul? And when can God find you in those moments?
Yeah, that's really good feedback. I'm going to sit with that. Can we do some rapid fire?
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, is there anything that you want to ask me or anything that we haven't touched on that you want to dive into?
I thought everything is pretty cool. I like it all. I'm good.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to talk about? I mean, we're going to do rapid fires, but
I want to do these rapid fires, and I want to do these rapid fires because I know people are going to be watching and listening, and they're like, okay, say something about my sign. And I get that some of this is like a little kind of feeding into the mainstream narrative, because obviously it's more ideal that you have this person's birth chart in front of you to actually give the most accurate information. So just do the best you can. Okay.
Yeah.
Hang with me. I just randomly wrote these. So let's see. You might have asked this, or answered this. What is the biggest red flag for a Virgo?
How often they check their phones. Virgos are very anxious. They're very wired, and they keep their anxieties under wrap. So when you notice the phone flipping every 2 minutes, when you notice them checking their notifications all the time, they need to go they need to go do yoga. They need to go run on the water. They need to let loose, because that anxiety is just like eating them up alive.
This is something that I don't necessarily struggle with. Times it's bad, but keeping Shabbat is something I really want to commit to doing, which I feel like is the ultimate anecdote. Like full disconnection, 25 hours offline, reset.
100%.
You keep Shabbat?
Yes.
For how long have you kept Shabbat?
I was born religious. I'm a practicing Jew.
I love the French Jews. They're such good energy. They really are. Okay. What spiritual superpower do Pisces have?
Pisces is the last sign. It's the sign of surrender. It's the sign that represents what happens when life is over. They can connect to God like no one else can. They are extremely sensitive. They can be victims, and they can be martyrs of their own life. So you have to really watch out for those energies in the Pisces. But Pisces are spiritual, and they're artists, and let them heal you, because they will heal you like no one else can.
Wow. I got to surround myself with some Pisces friends. Okay. What sign is most likely to cheat on their partner?
Geminis for sure, only because Geminis are split. It's the sign of the twins. It's the sign of the polarity. So they may love someone, but they may love someone else equally. So it's by no fault of their own. They love people. If someone has Venus, the sign of love, in the sign of Gemini, they need to be polyamorous to some extent. Obviously, this is not an excuse, especially if you're committing to loving one person. But the Gemini energy is split, and it needs a lot of movement, a lot of curiosity. And it's not really that they would cheat, but it's that they are bored. So if you want to keep your Gemini partner tight, make sure that they have the excitement that they deserve.
Which sign has the biggest ego?
Leos have the biggest ego for a good reason. They're here to create. Leos carry the light of the sun. It's the only sign that's here to channel God's sacred fire. So if a Leo is not allowed to create and be artistic, if a Leo doesn't have a pedestal, it will burn the house to the ground, because something is going to happen with that fire. So if you have a Leo close by, make sure to give them a mic, give them whatever they need, give them a camera so they could film themselves and show the world how amazing they are.
Because I feel like oftentimes we've been programmed in the spiritual world to think that the ego is this horrible thing that we need to completely kill. But I feel like it's more about learning how to navigate around it and utilize it for advantage, if that makes sense. Would you agree with that?
100%. And I would invite everyone to check in with the spiritual community, which now is the, capitalistic corporate spiritual community, which is really framing old issues with a new code of organic paint.
Yeah. I really saw a lot about the spiritual community. We won't dive into it after October 7th, specifically here in Miami. Showed its true colors, which was disappointing. But ultimately, I think a lot of people use spirituality as a mask. And yeah, the stuff that you're expressing feels like very real and authentic and genuine, that I feel like can really truly benefit everyone. So back to the rapid fire. Which sign has the wildest sex?
People will say Scorpio, but I think it's Pisces, because Pisces want to dissolve identities. And Pisces are artistic and imaginative. So for strong, typical wild sex, you want to go with the Scorpio. But for imaginative, creative, intense, different, mystical sex, go with the Pisces.
Wow, Pisces is crushing it.
It's Pisces season, so poor guys, we have to give it to them.
Pisces in your chart?
We all have Pisces in our chart.
No, because you know your signs. Wow.
That was funny though, the way you asked her, you know?
Well, I didn't see Ayala. Where is she?
No, but just because of that, it was just funny because we just spoke about sex. You're like, wait, where is it in your chart?
What sign would you say is the most difficult to date?
Libra. Libras are stuck in their heads, for lack of a better word. They are the cardinal air sign. So they're a sign that's ruled by Venus, the planet of love, but they also split into two. Libras are the scales of justice. So they want to make sure everything's always exact and always very true. And sometimes truth is not what's going to set you free. Sometimes love is. But for a Libra, it's really hard to understand. So Libra is stuck with these beautiful ideas, beautiful concepts around love, but to make it real, it's hard for them.
What sign would you say makes the best entrepreneur and has the easiest time making money?
So for entrepreneurs, we want to look at Aries energy. Aries is the sign of the leader, the pioneer, the entrepreneur. But Aries will start something and never finish it. So for a long-lasting business, you want an Aries and a Capricorn, because Capricorn has staying power. Capricorn wants to build an empire. Capricorn wants a legacy. We do need that Aries fire, Aries spark to get it started. And then we need to hand it to a Capricorn to make sure that the books are in order.
Wow. I feel like I can relate to that. I like starting things, and it's sometimes like so many open tabs. And then my ADHD is like, which one do I put energy into right now? I don't know if that shows up anywhere in my chart, but it's like, I love creating and I have an idea and I'm like, let's execute and build something. And then I feel like I'm probably not the best person to carry on that vision for like perpetuity, you know? So pairing up maybe with a Capricorn, right?
Totally.
So using astrology to not only like maybe find a romantic partner, but also a business partner.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, 100%.
Do you have any business partners?
No, I work alone. I'm an Aries.
Do you have any people on your team? You have an assistant?
I have a team, yeah.
How has like the last few months been for you, right? Because you've had a bunch of these videos go viral, right? That has all happened in the last couple months.
Yeah.
How has that shifted your energy? How has your life changed in the last couple of months?
We went viral. I went viral. I have over 100 million views on Instagram, which happened through just tiny little clips, which were adorable, a little clickbaity, but adorable. I really love them because I like to provoke people into thinking differently. And a lot of people were upset with the way that I described the sign. Obviously, any seasoned astrologer or anybody will know that you can describe a sign in a second.
Yeah.
So it was always really funny. And in terms of my work, it has asked for me to work harder and better because I have more clients. I have more people that want astrology readings. So just better strategy, just putting more effort into building something long lasting. Because I have that Aries energy of wanting to get something started but not finish it too.
So most people that are working with you, are they working with you initially just to get this reading and then kind of have direction and action items from that? Is it a longer period thing? Is it a combination of two?
So I do different things. So the first, the door, the portal is the reading. So I look at the sky at the time of your birth and tell you where those energies are in your life. What's the shadow side? What's the light side? And what's your destiny? Where is your soul headed in this lifetime? As well as the transits. So the transits are the way that the planets are currently moving over you and what is being activated. That's a reading. Typically, I'll do reading, a couple of follow-ups to help the person integrate the lessons that they've learned from the reading into their life. Then I have high-ticket containers where I intensively assist people in big moments in their life to get to the next level, and that's closer.
Okay. And which one, if any, do you enjoy the most? Or is it all equally fulfilling for you?
They're all really fun. I have a tendency of attracting men with very strong Neptunian signatures. So a lot of my work is helping men lead from a divine masculine place, which is really fun. I have this beautiful, gorgeous feminine men who are sensitive and deep and soulful, but they want to be leading from their masculine and they want to be attracting the partner from a place of divine masculinity. And how do we create that balance of being a man in his body, going after what you want, attracting the energy that you want, being fierce, being courageous, being successful, having fun, and using your gifts and talents that are more feminine. So I do a lot of work with men and helping men reclaim their divine masculine energy.
What are 3 things that men can do right now to elevate their masculine energy?
Remove one thing that is not serving you in your life. That could be a game on your phone. That could be a friend in your life. That could be a polyester t-shirt. Get it out of the door just to get the energy moving. Then make one decision. And it could be very simple. It could be where we're going to dinner tonight. It could be to go for a walk for 10 minutes. It could be to drink more water. Just make that one decision. And number 3, make sure you spend at least 10 minutes alone every day. And I mean, if you're going to start today, make sure to spend 10 minutes alone and listen to that voice, because boys are taught to look out for validation and success, but the answers are within.
All right. Any more rapid fire? I think we should hit every sign. Do you think we should? Yeah?
I don't know if I'll have content for every sign. Can you tell me what time it is?
It's 2:58. Okay.
It's my phone. Okay.
I think like it's crazy because, there's different moments of time where certain people's voices are amplified and more necessary to awaken the masses. And I feel like you're being summoned right now. I feel like
respond to the call.
I feel like Kabbalah and astrology are having their moment in terms of people seeking these ancient technologies to bring them back home to themselves. And I think you just have a very unique way of communicating and articulating these things to the masses, whether you're just getting started or whether you've been studying this stuff for decades. And I think that's a real gift. So I'm excited to just like continue witnessing your journey.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's gonna be really fun. And it's just the beginning, right now. So should we go red flags or red flags for each of these, or what do you guys think?
Well, how many did we do so far? Like how many?
We mentioned a lot of Pisces.
We said Pisces. We said Gemini. We did
Pisces,
Aries and Capricorn,
Virgo,
Virgos,
Gemini. We didn't mention anything about Taurus.
Oh, we spoke about Libra. Okay, we spoke a lot about Taurus on the episode, though. Do you still want to do a rapid fire?
No, we don't.
Because we did sensual and nature and healing. And then we have
like what sign is the best healer? I think that could be one.
Okay.
Yeah. Which sign makes the best healer?
Virgos are the natural healers of the Zodiac. But don't be fooled. A Virgo is only a nurse. It's not a doctor. To understand the power of a Virgo, you have to pay attention to their refined energy. They are very discerning. They will come into the room and check your vitals and make sure that everything's okay. However, while doing so, they may find too many problems with you and thus create more problems. So the healers of the Zodiac are Virgos, but the true spiritual healers are any sign that is embodied, elevated, and willing to connect with the divine.
So which signs are those?
Pisces.
Pisces.
Sorry. Yeah, Pisces are the healers of the zodiac, the real healers, the spiritual healers.
Interesting. So what about?
But Virgo is the nurse. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you also mentioned Taurus, how Taurus is like very connected to nature.
Yeah.
And wants to bring people back to nature, something like that.
Yeah. Okay, fine. So do you want to do it again and I say
No,
Taurus?
no. So I'm just curious, like what would you say is the spiritual gift of a Taurus?
Beautiful. You want to ask this question again for rapid fire, or this was
Yeah.
Okay.
What is the spiritual gift of a Taurus?
A Taurus is born during the season of healing. So the entirety of the Taurus experience is connected to healing through nature. Healing through blossoms, through flowers, through smells, through sensuality, through food, through hospitality. A Taurus is going to welcome you into their beautiful, curated, well-designed home. And they will make sure that you are safe and comfortable. That in and of itself is how we are meant to heal. We are meant to heal in the world with taking good care of our bodies through whatever God has put on this beautiful earth of ours. We're supposed to heal with the beach, with sand, with walks, with hikes, with the forest, with grounding, with nutritious food, with water. This is how we're meant to heal. So in a world where no one is sick, we live in a Taurus world because you have been so in touch with nature and so in touch with your body and your soul that you never got sick to begin with. That's really profound about Taurus.
What is the biggest green flag for an Aquarius?
Okay, this is hard. Aquarius is full of red flags. Aquariuses
Really?
Aquariuses are the weirdos, the awkward person of the zodiac. Aquariuses are not here to talk to you. They may want to tell you how to do it better because they were here before, because Aquarius comes from the future. And Aquarius is going to do something progressive, shocking, and disruptive. A green flag for an Aquarius is to introduce you to his friends, which would mean that, first of all, he has friends, which is pretty rare for an Aquarius. But to introduce you to his friends means that he has pretty strong social cues. And that would be a rare but beautiful green flag for an Aquarius.
Isn't it kind of a green flag to be a little weird, though? Like sometimes people call me cringe. And I actually think it's a compliment because the only way to actually stand out and escape the matrix of mediocrity is by being your most authentic, weird, cringe self. Not all the time, but sometimes. You know what I mean? So I guess you could potentially interpret that as a green flag.
I love that. The greatest green flag for an Aquarius is their willingness to be cringe. It's their willingness to step outside of the line. It's their willingness to be ridiculed and shamed because they don't care, because they know that where they come from, which is the future, often Aquariuses are reincarnations of future selves. That's how it's done. So they actually think you're the fool. They think you're the fool for example, wearing the clothes you wear or talking the way you talk or being performative on the internet, because they know where they come from, that it's not how things are done. Being cringe is the willingness to grow. If you're never cringe, you're never growing. If you're never cringe, you are always worried about what other people are going to do and say, meaning you actually don't care about the collective's growth. You just care about the status quo and you care about staying small. So to be cringe, and I feel like I've been super cringy on the internet lately, doing clickbaity and rage baiting reels. And I'm really proud of myself for being cringe, because when you're climbing that cringe mountain, you are telling the world, I really don't care what you think of me. I'm here on my own unique, authentic mission. And that's the only place I'm going. So you don't have to come. Keep judging me. I'm good.
Wow. You just completely flipped the script.
I love that you said that about cringe, because I've been really thinking about this. And I love that. So I love that you mentioned the cringe energy.
Which sign has the hardest time leaving its comfort zone?
Taurus. Taurus is the bull. It is steady, it is grounded, it is happy, it's comfortable. It doesn't want to go anywhere. Cancer is another sign that will not leave a toxic relationship, because once they're in for life. And sometimes a Cancer needs help opening up its pinchers out of the toxic partner to leave.
So wait, what is the most loyal sign?
Cancer is the most loyal sign. Cancer, once Cancer has set its eyes on a partner to build a home with, they will not leave. That's why if you have a Cancer friend who's stuck in a toxic relationship, they need your help. They may not ask you for the help, but they need it.
Any Cancers?
Wow.
Cancer rising is not Cancer rising
honestly.
is not the same though. It's not the same energy. It's Cancer sun or Cancer moon. Cancer rising is not the same because your general energy is the lover and the protector. But here we're talking about your sun sign. So
Why do Scorpios always seem to play the victim?
Scorpios have a life of pain. Scorpios have a life of pain. Scorpios are here incarnating in the most difficult sign. The sign that's going to suffer the most in this lifetime is Scorpio, because they're here to transform, which means that they're going to be going through a lot of ego deaths in order to be the phoenix rising that they're meant to be. So unless they realize what the journey is for a true Scorpio, which is to go from the scorpion to the phoenix, they will be stuck in a victim mentality, in darkness and in solitude. So Scorpios need support, understanding that there is more to life than their past, than the people that have hurt them, that the pain they've been through. And once a Scorpio understands that, they realize that they are actually the most powerful sign. Ruled by Pluto, the planet of destruction and transformation, Scorpios can get anything done if they put their mind to it. So Scorpions should really realize that as much as life has been painful, it could be incredible on the other side. They just have to take accountability.
Naomi, I'm very, very grateful for you. And I'm very excited for round 2. This is like the first time I've done a podcast in 2 or 3 months. So I apologize if I was rusty.
You were good.
And I feel like I have a lot to unpack. And I feel like the audience has a lot to unpack right now too. Is there any final message, final words you'd like to leave just to depart in a way that feels most aligned with you?
Sure. I think that my one and only message is that we are all God's children and we are all worthy of having a profound relationship with the Creator. Stop looking outside, look within. All the answers are there.
Thank you so much for tuning in. You already know, share this episode with a friend. Leave a thumbs up. Make sure to follow this queen, Naomi, right here. Naomi, where can they find you at?
Astro Torah on Instagram, astrotorah.com for astrology readings. And yeah, that's where I'm at.
We'll link everything in the show notes. Make sure to follow her. She's absolutely incredible. I'm actually about to enroll in one of her courses, so hopefully I'll see you there. Much love. Peace. Boom.